Huge news regarding Diablo IV Endgame. We have a lot to cover here since we had a group interview by Wowhead with Joe Shelly and Rod Ferguson regarding Diablo IV ladders, seasons, the UI, items, and so much more. Now, we all know we got the video on Into the Endgame. We're gonna cover that on a separate one, but here is all the information we can gather up from the interview. First and foremost, there was a question regarding Renown and the altars of Lilith in seasons. And Joe Shelly said that seasons in Diablo 4 will be very similar to Diablo 3 in terms of providing a fresh start with an equal footing for everyone. Some systems will be tied to your account, and in some cases they will carry over between seasons. We're not sure what these are yet, but judging from what he said here, I don't think the Renown and the buffs from the altars of Lilith will be carried over. The specific wording here, fresh start, equal footing for everyone, does mean that power in any shape or form it's going to be resetted. Probably some other systems in regards to like the looks, cosmetics, or pets, things like that, sure, they will carry over. Now, of course, a lot of folks were wondering what about the secret cow level in Diablo 4. There was never a mention about this, like, ever. So, this is their official answer. Now, at launch, Diablo 4 will have a greedy and grounded world. A cow level, wings, or pets take away from that groundness. And I agree with that. So, as they go along the line, things will be loosened up. But I think, yeah, they want to focus a lot on the atmosphere and story. They're putting a lot of their bets on the story. We're going to get to that in a second. And it does seem that it's a lot more grounded and a lot more gritty. So, yeah, cow levels, I can see them happening further in I don't know, see the couple of seasons or a new expansion or something like that. Anyways, covering up the leaderboards. So they mentioned that leaderboards will be included post-launch. They'll not be available at the launch. Joe Shelly elaborated that they are an excellent tool to track progress for competitive players, but they can also present significant challenges in terms of encouraging botting or the usage of exploits, depending on how they're implemented. Leaderboards need to be fair and well-maintained. They should be connected to competitive activities and not general activities. Leaderboards make people look at the top leaderboards and sway people into playing certain classes or builds, which is very true. Whenever I get into a Diablo 3 season, I always look at the leaderboards and see what builds people are playing, try to replicate that, or just look up a guide. But usually it's much more on hand to look up on leaderboards and see what people are doing. Now they want to make sure that they get the leaderboards right. In the absence of leaderboards at launch, the level 100 boss will be there to prove your strength. Interesting note regarding gambling. So at BlizzCon 2019, they said that the best gear in the game will be available through gambling. Question is, with everything that has been changed from that point on, it's basically 3 years, 4 years almost, they had to say this. So super rare uniques, which are much rarer than the regular uniques, were added since that time, since that announcement, which may not be available through gambling. Joe Shelly added that they would double check on this to make sure the information is correct. So this will probably be addressed in the developer update that will be on the 20th of April. Now, a lot of people have been talking, especially on Reddit and the forums, regarding the clan activities, more specifically, organizing raids and stuff. So, in regards to clan activities, they said that more features for clans are planned post-launch. There is currently no organized structure to fight world bosses with multiple groups, but Joe Shelly added, and I quote, "It is a cool idea." So I'm thinking they will probably do this somewhere in the future, and I think this is really, really cool, especially because they want Diablo 4 to be a little bit more, well, a lot more MMO-ish than previous Diablo titles. Now, in terms of the season cadence, they said that they will try to have a more predictable cadence for season in Diablo 4 and move Diablo 2 Resurrected and Diablo 3 seasons around Diablo 4 seasons. It's a concern because I know a lot of people will still play a lot of Diablo 2 Resurrected, not sure on Diablo 3, however, those will continue to have seasons of their own, and Diablo 4 will be like the third edition for Diablo fans with seasons to be played. So it's cool that they will cater the other two game seasons around Diablo 4 ones. Now, there's also the season journey rewards, and we all know those from Diablo 3, and once you got your season journey, like achievements and check marks or whatever, you got gear, so you got a boost in your power. Now, Joe Shelly explained that the season journey includes power-based rewards, and it is not monetized. So even though it wasn't asked about monetization in terms of this topic, it's very similar to Diablo 3. We will get power increases from season journey rewards, and nothing is included in monetization or paying for something like that. Cool to see. Now, very important one, the items, the gear. So one of the things that I never liked about Diablo 3 was the humongous numbers on the screen, and this was due to the damage multipliers that you had on items. So we had the question on, are we going to see the big multipliers on uniques in Diablo 4, similar to Diablo 3? And the answer was no. Joe Shelly explained that they want to reduce the overall scaling multipliers and damage numbers in combat in Diablo 4. Their focus on implementing legendary powers is to create new builds or to have them change builds. The philosophy of reducing the overall scaling multipliers applies to legendaries, uniques, and also tier sets in the future. And I guess this is a somewhat of a confirmation that we will have sets in the future, similar to what we had in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. In the beta, you didn't see anything like this, and I know there were a couple of questions regarding this on Twitter for the devs. They didn't really answer, like, they didn't say they were excluding the idea, but there's more information for that in the future, where here it is. Once they do these changes to the games, specifically to the scaling multipliers, and they kind of already have in the works sets. And I'm quite excited for this because we already have a ton of power added to our characters from legendaries and legendary aspects and uniques, moving further down to a bigger difficulty of the game, and there will also be sets. I'm quite excited about this. Now, Joe Shelly added that sets can be great for having a cohesive look and that they can be excellent for new players that don't want to create their own builds, but they can have negative effects of simplifying interesting builds that are available by taking up a lot of item slots. We'll have to see how this turns out, but I do believe the most powerful characters will be the ones that try out builds that are based around uniques and legendaries. In terms of item rarities and their use, especially in Endgame, Joe Shelly explained that they don't expect that normal or magic items will be powerful themselves in the Endgame builds. The devs are interested in there being uses beyond salvaging for those items, because we all know at some point white items and blue items will just be there as fuel for our salvage machine. Now, rare items will be important at Endgame, partially because of their use as bases to upgrade them to legendary at the occultist, which is true, we did this in the beta. Normal and magic items become more powerful as you unlock ancestral and sacred items at higher world tiers, thus becoming relevant at early stages of those world tiers. Probably more information about this will be once again available on the live stream that will take place on the 20th of April. One thing that was very reassuring was the fact that their focus on Diablo 4 is basically the server infrastructure being ready. And this is their top priority right now. I guess it's understandable since we had major issues in the early beta and then the open beta, a lot of lag, a lot of stuff that wasn't on par with what you would expect from a AAA game, but kind of got used to when it came to like Blizzard releases, especially the ones that are online only. So it's reassuring to see this happening. Now, the big one of the things I was always concerned about and actually made a video on the topic as well here on Diablo Forever, the UI improvements. So the question was, will the UI be updated with additional quality of life features before release? Obviously, this is not a question in regards to do you plan to change the UI, but the answer is still, I think, indicative of what is to come. So there are some points that can be addressed between beta and release. Joe Shelly said the UI will not dramatically change in that period of time simply because there is not enough time. And I did mention this in the previous video as well. I don't think they have time to like do a major overhaul for it, but some fixes and adjustments would go a long way. Some issues like bugs need a faster transition and others are more complex problems. Joe Shelly added, "We want the UI to be accessible to all kind of players. There are a lot of factors we need to think about." So take from this what you will, but I am almost convinced that the UI will look identically to what we had in the beta, which is a shame because this was a major pain point for a lot of folks playing the beta. Hopefully, further down the line, they can address this. So the biggest question from the interview, at least from my point of view, was in regards to endgame content. Very simple, very short, but the question was, are there any planned endgame activities that you haven't revealed yet? And the answer was yes. Now, just circling back a little bit to the Into the Endgame video, which again, we'll have a separate video made about that, but that's basically them showing what the end game will look like, what you will be able to do, how you'll be able to do it and go above it, and so on and so forth. But that's not all. There is something else also planned that hasn't been revealed yet. And we can go off on the speculation here. Maybe they can introduce the arenas that we were promised in Diablo 3. That would be interesting if they want to make an end game focused on PvP. Maybe the whole raid thing is going to happen, you know, the clan feature thing that will be like specific clan endgame activities, right? And incentivize people to join clans and join communities similar to like how guilds are in MMOs. Who knows? Maybe some endgame solo content, you know, different challenges on solo mode. There's a ton of possibilities here, but I'm quite excited that the end game content is not yet fully revealed. There's still a lot more to be discovered, or at least they have a lot more planned further down the line. I guess further down the line is the expression predominant in this video, which is fine. As long as they have like super long-term plans for the game, we're all happy here. There were a couple of more things addressed within the interview, but I feel these were the most important ones to look at. And yeah, sure, the video they released was a little bit underwhelming, a couple of disappointments here and there, but I think this interview got me a little bit more hopeful for what is to come in Diablo 4. They are putting a lot of prioritization for server stability and infrastructure, which I think is like, yes, crucial, as you do want all of the massive people who will start playing on June the 1st and June the 6th to have a smooth experience and have the content ready there. Quick reminder here, on launch, the season will not be available, so you'll be able to play up to a specific point, then the season will start. You're gonna have to like take it from zero, so do of that what you will. But most important thing, the launch should be smooth. The content is already there. We know what we're gonna have to do in endgame. Plus, there's a lot more information and things to be added within the game post-launch. What do you think about all of this, all of the information that got out? Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Let me know in the comments and we can start a conversation from there. I love reading those comments on what your thoughts are. And who knows, as they seem to reply and listen to a lot of people in social media, feedback will eventually start molding the game to something we all love. Now, click that subscribe button. If you like the video, click the like. If not, it's fine, but click subscribe and notification to always be up to date with the videos we post out here and all of Diablo 4 news and a lot more content to come. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Bye!